Hey guys, some of you showed interest in making a DayZ server on your own computer, so let's try and make one. Now this is going to be for local servers, so you can kind of learn how to do it before you purchase your own one. I don't recommend using this on the internet because people can quite easily access your own files and get through your firewalls and things. So yeah, I don't recommend using this on Steam servers and things like that. Just keep it local so you can play on your own or with someone else in your household. Okay, first thing to do is go to Steam, go to your Steam library. I want to make sure you can see the tools section just here. Probably unselect everything else, to be honest, and then go down to the DayZ Server. So this one here, you need to install that and pay attention to which directory you install it to, so which place on your computer that it's installed to. So for instance, my one is, if I go to my C drive, then into program files 86, then Steam, then Steam apps, then common, and there's my DayZ server just there. So this should all have been installed onto your computer, except for that file there, and we will do that now. So this file is something that is used to start the DayZ server a bit more easily. It also allows you to add mods. It's called a batch file, so .bat stands for batch. It doesn't really matter what it's called at the beginning here. It's just the important thing is when you start it, that it starts up the server with a load of preloaded parameters. So what we do is go to a website which was made by a very clever person that put the batch files together in one nice place. So here we are. So this is an example of a batch file here. I'll put a link to this website in the description so you can find it very easily. I suggest that you scroll down and use the start_extended.bat. And the reason for that is because it comes with the mods section, and I'm sure the most of you are going to be wanting to add mods to your servers. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to copy this across and make your own batch file, then I'll explain a bit more about it. So start extended, and you want to click on the raw bit here, and then highlight it all. Make sure you get everything there, all of that. Right click, copy. And then feel free to close this if you want. I'm going to. And what you want to do is on your desktop or anywhere really, right click, new text document. Don't worry about naming it anything for now, just got to open it up and then right click, paste the stuff you copied from the website into here. Make sure it's all there. There we go. Now what you're going to want to do, this is the important bit, is file, save as, not save, save as. And then down at the bottom here where it says save as type, you want to change that to all files. And now what you want to do is name it whatever you want, as long as you've got .bat at the end. So I'm going to name my file start because I want to start the server. And this is the important bit. You put .bat, so .bat, and pay attention as to where you're saving it. I'm saving it on my desktop, so I'll save that. There we go. It's just appeared there. Look. So you can close this, and if you want, you can even delete that. So this is the file that we just made, just here. And what you'll want to do is drag it over into here. So I'm going to delete this one just for the sake of it for now. And drag this into your server that we found the location of earlier in your Steam apps common, in your Steam folders. Here you go, look, this is the path. Okay, so now if we want to edit what's in that back folder, you have to right click and then push edit. If you double click it, it will start server. So make sure you right click and edit when you want to see what's inside it. So here we go. I'll explain to you a bit about this now. So anything with a double dot next to it like this, this is a description, okay, and it tells you what is underneath it. So this is a description for this here. So it shows you that this here is a name for the command window. And I'll show you what that means in a minute. And what it does is it sets the command window name to Jim's DayZ Server. Now I'm going to change that to Hepskie test. This next one is server files location. This is the important bit. So when we found our DayZ server earlier on, this is the location here that you're going to need. It finishes with DayZ Server. Look, this is the location that you're going to need to make sure this is exactly the same as. So you can see that this here, in between these quotation marks, is exactly the same as the path to my server up here. Yeah? That's very important. If you don't do that, then the server won't be started by this file. Server port is the port that the server uses to connect to everything. Server config. So this is what the server config is, the file is, and it's pointing to. So that's this one here, look, which is good because that's the correct one. Now the server profile on platforms like Nitrado, which is a server hosting website and company, and GTX Gaming and other ones, this will be named different. So I am going to put it as config because generally I use Nitrado servers and they name their profile folder config. And when you do this, if you have any logs or anything that generate, so files that show you what's going on, it will create a folder in here after you started the server called config. It'll be around here somewhere. So I'm going to change that to config. It shows you how many cores the server will use from your computer. I just generally leave that alone. So with this file here, what you will want to do is, if it has quotation marks there, just remove them because they're not needed. It's just showing you that that's where you would add the mods. So from the example above, you can see that would be how you would add the mods in. So you'd put one there, then a semicolon, then another one there, then a semicolon, another one there. You just add them straight after that. There's no need to put any quotation marks or anything like that. So make sure there's none there and then save it, otherwise it might cause an error. Okay? Okay, see this one here shows you what it is, but it also says don't edit, so don't change that, and also don't change this one. That's important as well. And then all of this here, this line here, this is telling the server to do and name everything that we've set here. So you can see config for the server we have just here, and it's pointing to that. So you don't need to worry about changing any of this. Leave that alone. All you got to do is change the stuff up here if you want to. Yeah, so this timeout here, what this will do, as you can see above, time in seconds before kill server process. So what it'll do is it will stop the server in that many seconds, and that many seconds is equal to 4 hours. So here, if you want to change that to longer, what you've got to do is add in more seconds and it'll make it longer. Clever thing about this is what it'll do is it'll stop the server. That's what that means there. It'll wait for 10 seconds, and then it'll go back to the top of the file and restart the server. So that's really cool. You don't ever have to worry about manually restarting the server. As long as this is open and running, it will do it automatically. Okay, now once you've made your changes, make sure you save your file and close that. Now you have your very own start.bat. Yeah. So what you could do is you could open it, but what I suggest you do first is edit your serverDZ.cfg, which is basically the configuration file for your server. So there we go. This is more like what you'll see. So in this file here, this will be one that's automatically downloaded when you download your DayZ server. Again, similar to the other file, it has an explanation in it. So everything after a double dash is an explanation. So this is showing you that this here, in between these quotes, will be the server name. Okay, so I'm going to change mine to Hepskie test to match the command window that we changed in the other file. Password, if you want to have a password to the server, I don't know, what shall I name mine? Spud. There you go. That's the password that you have to enter to get into my server now. Admin password. Doesn't really matter too much, but you can add one if you want. If you're using things like mods like Community Online Tools, it doesn't matter in the slightest. Okay, and all the rest of these you can see all the descriptions. So the max amount of players, you can change that to whatever. I'd leave most of this the same for now. Now, if you want a first-person server, you have to change that number there to 1. If you're happy having a third person, so like you can look behind the player, keep that on 0. I'm going to change it to 1 because I like first person servers. If you don't want a crosshair on the screen, you can change that to 1 and that will disable the crosshair. There's lots of other things here. If you want a faster night time, so less nighttime and more daytime, you can make that a higher number. Okay, so for instance, if I made that 12, or maybe make it, I'm going to put it to an 8, so that gives a slightly faster night time. You can see here how high you can go to and all the rest of that. It's a really good, really well made file, this one. Good job, Bohemia Interactive. Time persistent, that means when the server restarts, the day and night cycle will stay the same. So if it finishes in night, then when the server starts up, it'll still be in the night. But if you leave that on 0, that'll go back to the beginning of the day every single time. I'm just going to keep it on 0 for now. Yeah, so the rest of this I'd leave as it is just for now. If you're using a different map, or if you want to use a different map, you can upload the map file into this folder. But there's going to be 2 already in there when you've downloaded it. One is Churnerous Plus, which is this one here, which, as you can see here, it's already set up to use. So this bit of text here points to these files here. So if you wanted to use the DLC, which I think is called Livonia, you have to change it to this. So for instance, if you rename it and do Control-C or copy, that'll copy that exactly, and then all you have to do is paste it into there. Okay, I'm going to leave mine as Churnerous Plus. And then you save that, and then your server should be good to go. So it's just very basic, it's just a normal DayZ server without any mods on at the moment. So what you do is you do double click on your start.bat or whatever you've named it, .bat, and it'll come up with this command window here. So remember what I mentioned before about the command window? Here it is. And another window that will pop up, or might have already popped up, it might be down here and not have appeared yet. If you click on that, this is your DayZ console. It's the showing you what's going on with your server. So currently it's spawning in all the stuff it needs to start the server and get it going. You can see, you can scroll up and see what's happened and all the rest of it. See, it's spawning in vehicle parts, all the rest of it. So once you get to here, and it says idle mode, and entering in saved process, that means your server has started correctly and it's ready to go. So what you can do is you can start your DayZ game. One thing to bear in mind is that you now have two different types of the DayZ game really open. You have a server, which is this here, which is a process running in the background, and you have the client, which is this game here, which is what you usually use to play on and join servers. It's called a client. So to find your server, you want to go to the servers tab, click on LAN. It should appear pretty quickly. There we go, there's our server, and no mods because it's just a vanilla server. So let's try and join it. So what I recommend you do, even if you've joined like no servers or anything before, every single time you join a server, doesn't matter what type of server it is, on the DayZ launcher you click more details, go setup DLC and mods and join. Even if there are no servers, because your client might already have some mods loaded, which will mean if you try and join this server and you don't set up the mods, it won't join it because your server over here will reject your client because you have mods installed and it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to set up my mods and join. Oh look, we got a password. Now what did we set the password as? I think it was Spud, wasn't it? So let's connect. Okay, here we are, just like that. We are in, and the FPS should be really good, and there should be no lag whatsoever because you're on your own server, it's running on your computer. If there is a bit of lag, it's because your computer is either a bit old or a little bit slow and it is struggling to run both at once. I know even the fan on my computer, you might be able to hear it, is revving up a little bit. I don't have the best computer either. But yeah, there we go. That's that. Let's come out of this. So nicely done, you've set up your own server. Now, to stop your server, what you will want to do is go here and hit, make sure you've clicked in this window here in your batch file, hit any key, by any key, there isn't an any key, hit the space bar or whatever, and that'll stop the server. You have 10 seconds to close this before it starts again. Okay, so close that, and now the server stops and you don't have to worry about it. If you just close that black box, it may end up with the server still running in the background, and you need to close it with the task manager. So open up task manager, you'll find the process, and you'll close it. Okay, so that is how you make your own DayZ server on your own computer. Now if you want to add a mod, what you'll want to do is find your workshop folder. Now I do have another tutorial on how to add mods to your DayZ server, so I'll link that at the end of the video and in the description, and I suggest you watch that. And the only difference is you start and stop the server with this, and where you add the mods, it's like I showed you before, is just here. So instead of adding them on the Nitrado website like I show you in the tutorial, you add them here. Okay, everything else is exactly the same. Okay, you don't have to worry about doing any of the website stuff or anything like that. Anything to do with that, don't worry about. Everything else is the same. Yeah, and that is how you would add mods. But I mean, if you already know where your workshop folder is and you already know all this, I'll just show you very, very quickly. So for instance, if I wanted to add CF is kind of an essential one. If you wanted to add CF, what you need to do is you need to go and copy that, go to your DayZ server. I've made a little shortcut on my desktop, which I suggest you do too, and you need to paste that into your DayZ folder just here. Okay, this is your DayZ server, and then once that's in there, you need to add the name of that exactly. Capital letters make a difference, spaces make a difference. You add that to here. So as you can see, it's at capital C, capital F. So just here, I'm going to put at capital C, capital F. That's it. File, save. One other thing you will need to do is you need to go into that mod folder you just copied across, into the keys folder that's in there, and copy this into the keys folder that's in your DayZ server. Okay, go into here and right click, paste. So now that's in there, and you've saved this after adding the CF. That means that mod is now installed and ready to go. Okay, if you want another further tutorial on how to do that, as I said, I'll link it in the description and put a link at the end of the video. Yeah, and I think that is about it. If you have any questions, catch me on Septic Falcon's Discord. I'll put a link in the description. Any other problems you've run into, just give me a shout. Thanks for watching.